right, guys. So I want to start off with this nesting doll. It's inverted. So this says the midheaven is the MC. This is the 10th house. And this is where I want to start off based on the title, if I can get it open. What I want to be when I grow up. So this is how we're going to focus on explaining it. So, this is the 10th house, your midheaven. This is your professional self. This is how you get through most of your interviews. And when you are preparing to offer your services, you gather in your plan, you have your actual layout, you have your offer, you have your diagrams, you have your work that you're going to be using to work with your client, all the things, right? Your MC, your 10th house. In order for your professional self to be able to do all that it does, your Mars placement has to be the person that actually builds that whole operation, right? So after you build your operation, or I should say before you build your operation, you have to understand how to communicate. This is your actual Mercury sign. So sorry, yeah. Okay. So your Mercury sign, the way you communicate and you're able to articulate exactly what you want to form, and you actually have it written out. You have your plan, you have your trial run, you have your potential challenges, you have the obstacles that your client might face, all the things, right? After or before that, you have how you really got there after. Your rising sign. So this is the person who, I should say, this is the persona that people perceive you to be. And as you form and come out of your shell, quote unquote, you start talking about it. But before you start talking about it, you have to understand who you are. So, inside this last one is your moon sign. After you come across who you are and emotionally attached to your experiences, you have your moon sign. So, after we put all those together, we talk about ourselves, we get to know ourselves, we become the person we need to, we are then perceived by reality, your ascendant sign, right? So, after you go through your ascendant sign, you continue to articulate yourself and you understand who you are. You go through your Mercury sign. And we actually put these back together. So your Mercury sign has to be inside of who you are when you are creating yourself, your Mars sign. You have to execute and go through the operation to actually form who you are going to become, right? So after that, we have your MC, and this is the last part, right? Your midheaven. After you establish yourself, you put your plan out there, people are able to perceive your plan and understand where you're going with your plan. You have reached your professionalism. So now that we've got that through, the best thing that I could say right now, as we work through the energy of going into November, the thing that you might want to understand is that the people that are willing to do the grunt work are the ones that are going to be paving the way. When you do something that people don't want to do, when you come across information that people don't want to learn themselves, they don't want to teach themselves, you are doing the grunt work, and people pay for those conveniences. So once you learn things that people want to learn, you do things that people don't want to do, you become a resource and an asset. This is where you gain your money from. You offer your services of what you've learned, what you do, what you've gained, what you found out, all these things. You offer that to your community, offer that as your client, packages and all the things like that, right? Another thing is, there was something I came across social media with the other day, and they were stating if 99% of the world did not understand you or did not agree with what you were doing, you are only going to have 1% of the world to understand you thoroughly. So if 99% of those people don't understand exactly what you're going through, they don't agree with you, you can't expect everybody to be your target audience. That's the first thing. So these cutthroat realizations of life is how you learn to improvise. I am rooting the imprinted empire in with the people who improvise. If you're able to improvise, you will be able to predict and have instinctual insight about what is to come, the challenges that you might approach, the things that you could do to weigh out those challenges, the way you can actually overcome those challenges before they come about. So this is how we do mental rehearsal. In the imprinted empire, we already have resources we have placements and portions of your birth chart you can use to help you actually move forward with all of these things. So this is how you morph into a multi-hyphenated from somebody who is just an employer. So as I have kind of like shifted from Muse Crone and actually having Crone archives and Crone codes, we still have the code. It's just going to be decoded through your birth chart. So, with that being said, the multi hyphenate is going from the employer who is interviewed for a specific position. They serve a purpose at that job to deliver that same thing they were hired for. You are transforming into a freelancer, an independent contractor, somebody who has package deals for people that would be the same people that you would offer at your current job. Once you transform into that person, that is an introspective point of view. You have to actually be the person that's going to morph into somebody new and allow yourself to see the value that you have at your current job be flourished in your position as a freelancer. As we go through life, we're going to have to come conveniently promote ourselves. And I use the sun sign to help you do that. That is the only time your ego gets to shine, is when you are critiquing your own work. When you've actually put through the plan, you executed the plan, you see how you were able to operate through that plan, quote unquote, the trial run of whatever you're doing. That is the only time your ego should have any say. Your ego can have all of the world's judgment and have, oh, this is not cool, that's not cool, this not cool. Until your sun sign sees exactly what your Mars placement was able to articulate and actually execute, there is no way that your MC, your 10th house, your professionalism is going to have anything to do besides your sun sign saying, okay, yeah, you reached a certain level. It's time to promote yourself. The ego, the sun placement in your birth chart is your self promoter, hands down. So we have the inner child is your moon placement. We already established how deep rooted the moon is into the experience of being a human. Now the moon sign is going to help you with your imagination, come up with your ideas, and then actually have your inner child explore the experience that you've always wanted to have. What do you want to be when you grow up? These are the questions that we should have asked ourselves, not as wild questions, but something that could actually be done. So now we are approaching the last few months. Yeah, the last few months of 2025, and we're going into 2026. 2026 is a 1 year, but it is also collaborated with a zero because you have to morph into somebody else. That 1 year is now going to be happening in your professionalism. So everybody's going to be experiencing life differently, so utilizing external validation is probably not going to be your best bet. Probably is a loose word. I'll say it's definitely not going to be your best bet. Anybody who searches for external validation is going to seek exactly what they deserve, and it may be judgment. So to avoid that, tell yourself what you're doing is cool, judge it yourself, and don't base it on external validation or judgments of other people. Don't compare it to anyone else. You have to utilize your competitors that are billions of light years away from where you are currently versus the people that are around you. You want to stand out with the things that you have to offer. You want to look at the people who are way ahead of you to see how far you are from their actual offers. And usually you'll see that you are not far at all. All right, so that's the first thing. Not even the first thing. That's like a couple of things. There are portions of your reality that you're going to have to validate. And these areas of life is going to come through the mental rehearsal. The introspective aspect of life is where most of us are going to have to understand that your resources are going to come from what you actually have talent doing. When you are able to learn and you commit yourself to learning more in that field, is where you're going to be able to morph into that person confidently. So I said the Mercury placement is where before you even start actively doing things, your Mercury placement is going to help you the element of your Mercury placement is going to help you figure out exactly how to communicate with your audience, communicate with your customer or client or whoever you are working with your services. Whether you do group work or you do single services, you need to know how to communicate with your client. Now, this is introspectively, so you want to know how you communicate versus someone perceiving how you communicate. You have to learn yourself before you start doing this. This is why mental rehearsal is a part of the empire. So, I have a couple of things that I wanted to discuss as far as building this plan that you could come up with for 2026. And the way that you build this up is going to be the interest that you have, the hobbies that you come up with, and the lifestyle you want to live. So having goals to achieve. Now, if you have no goals, you need to find some ASAP. And these goals could be referencing things that you already know, what have you learned, and the things that you've always wanted to do and actually become a part of. So you have to have some end goal, and then we can work on the short-term goals that could fulfill your actual desires. So I did just post something recently, and this is a part of your metamorphosis. I have YouTube videos that we can go to as well. All of those are posted, but the Mars mission, you have to become a leader. You have to become somebody who is more confident in what they have to offer than seeking approval. And that is harder to do than just paying attention to other people. You will start to measure yourself against your peers, and that is where you fall short to becoming who you want, because the end goal is not to become your peers. The end goal is not even to compare your work to your peers. So we have to break the habit of that. The inner child and the purpose of the inner child in working is the reason why your imagination is so prominent. You have to have your inner child really explore this aspect of reality. So you have your moon sign as a specific element, and these are areas of life that you have to pay attention to. You will start to get insight in such ways of that element, whether it's passion, a spark of inspiration. You want to have an emotional connection to it. It's a practical plan. It's more you find these informations through communications with yourselves or other people. You're going to have this metamorphosizing moment where you can personalize your experience to reach a lifestyle you've always wanted to live. So I've come across these things, and I noticed that the only way you can guide yourself through this metamorphosis is allowing yourself to form these opinions on your own. And a lot of people would use social media to say, okay, what's trending? Yes, you can go with a trend, but when trends are not valid or trends are not something that you are gravitating to, it doesn't resonate with you, what is your alternative? If you don't have an alternative, these are the things that you want to pay attention to in the midst of mental rehearsal. This is all before you've hit the testing grounds with an idea that you now want to execute and you want to try out. So this is the editorial aspect of life, and this is the reason why I chose it to help, because this is so prominent when you are working with something and you start to get distracted, you start to compare yourself, or you start doing things like giving up too early, and then you don't think that what you're doing is worthy. The information starts to get redundant and it's not interesting anymore, or you get bored with it. These are areas where you have to remember your why. The introspective portion, the mental rehearsal, the report of the mental rehearsal, the things that you've already tried out are your proof of experience that makes you want to continue it and continue understanding why this is so important to you or something that you're interested in. Everything when you start learning gets boring. Everything when you start learning more gets boring. So this is where you kind of can build character. This is where you can actually build interest to yourself. And then when you start to see yourself drifting away from the interest that you once had, you can start to see what's influencing that. These are things that help build momentum and also tear it down. So you want to make sure that you're focusing on that aspect of your identity and you build yourself up in this way, because at this very moment, we're all doing that. We all are going to have to find something that validates ourselves in our moment of living life. So as we promote ourselves, as we establish our flaws, as we figure out exactly what is our interest, you want to make sure that these are the things that you can maintain. Um, and what would help you stay a little bit, what would help you stay away from the aspect of wanting um, to compare yourself is meeting the needs of your industry or your community. If you know that something isn't being met, casual conversation will always give you insight to what your community is needing. They will probably complain about something that has nothing to do with what you offer, but then you can understand exactly how you can integrate that into your offer for somebody who may need whatever they need. So this is the beginning stage of most of the things that you're going to go through. So you have to understand where the problem lies in everything that you have going on. So the next thing that I wanted to state was utilizing your placements. Now, I've said all the placements that have anything to do with the way that you experience life, right? So I'm going to just pull, pull all of these out once more, because I have to explain the portion of what I'm going to be talking about. Wish I could turn it from inverted, but it's okay. So we're going to talk about your moon placement, and I spelled it out on the side. So the moon, right? So we have a specific amount of, but we have four elements that we're going to talk about where your moon sign could be in. I happen to have my moon in a water sign in Vedic astrology, and then it's in a fire sign in tropical astrology. However, I choose to use one or the other to use inspiration, or I should gain inspiration from. So, with your moon sign, the element of your moon sign is going to show you a lot about yourself. It's going to show you a lot about your imagination. It's going to show you a lot about how you gravitate towards things that you value. Most of the time, it's either a sentimental, emotional attachment to it, it's either very convenient, it gives you something to talk about, or something that inspires you to impulsively react. I just kind of like put all of those together, right? But for each one of those elements, in the zodiac signs, you have 28 to 29 degrees. Every person that is under that specific element or zodiac sign is going to have a different perspective from 0 degrees up to 29 degrees. All of the degrees in between are going to show a different persona, a different energy, a different reaction to reality. So now we go to the rising sign, your ascendant sign. This is going to show you exactly how you are perceived in life. Now, again, the specific degree is going to show you a different persona. Each person may be a Scorpio rising, a Pisces rising, a Libra rising, a Capricorn rising. You probably have a group of Capricorn risings, and every one of them is going to have a different degree. Some may have the same degree, some may have a different way of expressing themselves due to the other placements. So you can't say that all Capricorns, all Aquariuses, all Virgos, all, like, they can't all have the same perspective on life. They may have very, very similar ways of existing, but their response to reality is extremely different. Let's move on. So we have the Mercury sign. Again, everybody can say, like, oh, I have a Mercury in Virgo, I have a Mercury in Capricorn, I have a Mercury in Pisces. These instances all have 30, I should not even say instances, these personas have 30-degree width of range of responses to reality when it comes to your Mercury placement. So all of these are going to show a different persona and a different way of responding to reality. They're going to have a different way of inner dialogue. They're going to talk to themselves differently. They're going to express life differently. They're going to communicate with their surroundings differently. The way of life, the way they keep their environment is going to be completely different. So we have the Mars placement. They're going to react to life differently. There's a lot of people that have the same Mars sign. And we have to also think about when it comes to past lives and it comes to generational curses, there's a specific amount of Mars placements in reality and in certain generations that are the same. Just think about it. If a goal is supposed to be executed by a specific generation, meaning a year people were born, not everybody, but everybody has a good amount of people in the year that they were born, in a couple of years that they were born. Let's not talk about generations from like Gen Z and millennials. I don't want to talk about that. I'm talking about within a span of 2 years, 3 years apart, a group of 3 years, meaning like 2000, 2001, 2003. All of those generations have a specific goal to achieve within their years of living. Let's say that all of the ones that have an Aquarius rising or Aquarius Mars or Aquarius Venus have a specific goal that they all subconsciously know about. This is kind of how, like, people around each other start to morph around the same location. They happen to go to the same event. This is how some of those things happen. So I want to just say again, that 30-degree of people who have a Mars placement in a specific sign are all going to react to life differently. They're going to respond to their life experiences differently based on their experience or things they haven't experienced. Same thing. So we have the MC, same way. They're going to approach their professionalism differently. This is what I wanted to say earlier, but I did not have my little, my little props. But where I think that most people want to take their professionalism, the MC, their midheaven, so far, and they want to go through the life cycle of everything that they need, but they have no connection to their moon sign. They have no connection to what they're inspired by. They have no connection. They're not even in the right. They're not in the right industry or community to influence them in flourish the gifts or participate in collaborations, there's nothing. There's no emotional connection. And you need emotional connection in order for you to morph into the person you need to be, in order for you to succeed on your timeline. So I'm going to just say that that's the end of it right now because I already put out a video today. So this would have been the second part. And I just want to say that you guys have the bandwidth to really endure this transformation that we're going to about to approach through. And everything that you've always wanted to do is already in your path. You just have to commit and affirm to yourself that you're actually going to do what it takes to become that person. So the last thing that I want to say before I just end the video like that, you're mentally rehearsing a lifestyle that you always wanted to do and always wanted to be in a group of people you always wanted to be a part of. You need to study what they do on a daily basis so that you can actually understand exactly what the life cycle of that journey looks like. They started one way. They had to grow into this portion of their journey. They had to grow into that phase of their journey. They had to grow into this part of their journey. They had to have a time or a duration where nothing was happening, nothing was growing. What was that metamorphosis looking like for them? You have to understand that that's the aspect of reality we're at, and those people that are going to be attracted to your brand is going to seek exactly what that looked like. So you have to understand that the judgment that you're seeking is going to be the judgment that you offer to your client. However much information you have about the journey you just left and what you learned is the amount of connection your audience is going to have with the way you express and offer your services. All right, guys, see you later.